setting it. Welcome to the live chat. I'm gonna try to follow. So today we are gonna do some fun wildflowers, probably mostly poppies. And I'm starting with a very loose sketch. And I would try to post the sketch or at least some highlights later on so you guys can follow along and do that as well. So I'm gonna try to focus on kind of like two shape of flowers mainly. So I know the name of the poppy, I don't know the name of the other one, but it smells like artificial grape juice. So I'm just gonna mapping, kind of marking where I want to have stuff. And normally you want to use maybe some a masking fluid. Instead of masking fluid, I'm just gonna use some, really just to make sure that I'm having some light areas over here so I can use for the center of the flower. I'm using masking tape and it's working for me anyway. I like doing it especially when I have like a strong you can see that I'm leaving the edges ragged. When I have like strong light source, I use those. So let's start. So I'm gonna start with my number 6 brush. Okay, so I'm adding just a little bit of water over here because I live in California and I don't like to use too much water. I don't want it to be, there we go, too soft. I work in segments, so I won't dry my entire page. I'm just like looking for segments that I want to get some wet into wet action. Hey, show and tell, you found me! Yay! Thank you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, this time we're going straight from the beginning. I said last live that I want to do some in-person art class, like workshop, and I think that I want at least to start doing something like that here. So I'm looking for my olives, like olive color. The scene that I've been at, I went to this hike, the flower just started blooming. It was just like really the beginning. So you see this is very wet, and I'm starting with adding some kind of green. I don't want too much bright, I just add a little bit, and I'm choosing from, I think this would work, this, more of this, maybe even a little bit of the super dark one. And again, I don't have, we need much more pigment. So I'm dipping my brush, getting more pigment. Maybe a bigger brush. Oh, follow. Thank you so much. Follow Wiki. Okay, I need this part. I need to be like super fast. I appreciate that. So yeah, usually I am at TikTok working on all of this stuff, but today I decided that I want to do like full tutorial. Okay, so I want to show you a way to dark. So you go like very, very, very dark. Let's say that over here I want to do my flowers. Let's go dark. Let's even get some of my blue. And I want to do fast. Do it fast, 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 fast. Because the moment that the water and pigment gets soaked, you can't do this. And we want to do some of this. And you see how one way is to create those block, or you can do a lot of masking fluid, for example, but you can also just do that. For example, over here, let's say that I'm gonna go dark, 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 dark. So hi. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I'm aware that in TikTok I can have 20, 30, 40 people, and here it's less. But here you can check it later on. Okay, you see how much pigment I'm placing? And this is still just the beginning. Oh, I added a lot of water, just the beginning, just background, maybe too much water even. And for this background, now I can do, we probably saw people doing something like this, which works. You see, I would need something to come from this. However, in order to get the white, when you're using the towel, it's make this part dry, which means that the water wouldn't bleed again. If you just trying your you can do it with cards, you can use this part to try get this. It's not dry, which means that the water sinking here, but over here you see this part got dry. This is how I got it. Now over here I added maybe a little bit too much of water, and again I want narrow narrow lines. And in area that you want it to be like stronger white, okay, because I want the background to be maybe shorter, you just, I go with my fingernails and do that. Let me try to demonstrate it in a better way. So, fingernail, fingernail, fingernail. You see how you can create those radiance. By the way, if you're doing Rise of the Resistance or any Star Wars, this technique is perfect to create the lightsaber. And I'm saying it because I do a lot of fan art, and it's kind of fun to know that you can use this kind of technique for any fan art. Okay, so as I say, you can always still use masking fluid. I don't like to use masking fluid because I do it in one sit when I do live, and I want to make sure that I can make everything without waiting for area to dry. This is also one of the reasons that I'm working like that in segment, because if you do wet into wet many times, you would need to wait for it to dry. I want to have like a peak of a sky or something. So I'm cleaning my brush, getting some blue. Let's say that we have sky. Okay, and now I'm changing the direction of the brush, getting some more blue. Maybe some different one. And once again, here for a different reason, you want to have some clouds. And we have some cloud, maybe if we can add a little bit of darker blue to this area. could get maybe the idea of we either have a hill or a mountain. So still very loose, still we don't really see what's going on. Now this area got dry meanwhile, so I'm wetting it again, blurring the edges, going with some cadmium yellow. And let's get some more pigment. I don't know why I'm not picking enough pigment here. So this would be like the stones or the road that goes like this all the way over here. So still very loose. Oops, I'm dropping stuff. And I'm still in the frame, right? Loose. And again, you totally can do full wet into wet. But for me, right now I'm working on this area. This area would get dry meanwhile. So this is why it's working. And now I'm adding some darker value to indicate maybe we have some stones, maybe we have some rocks. It's not like a solid, bright surface. Okay, let's get some brighter green. I'm getting green over here, so you see that I can go all the way over here. Gonna go to the edges of those purple that we're gonna have. I'm getting some more green around it. Again, some moments of blurry, wet into wet. And now where is my purple? Now I'm cleaning my brush. I'm still working with number 6 flat brush for now. I just feel like I love to work with number 6 round, but I just feel that I'm getting a better result with this as far as like getting a lot of areas done. So I want to wet into it, right? Now over here I want more pigment. And this is a little bit more to the back, so the poppy is gonna be like more into the front. But you know what? I think that I'm gonna do it even all the way down here. I'm gonna push it closer to the edge. As far as like composition, I think it would look better. And I also think that right now I'm gonna switch to my round brush. Okay, you see how different it's. I'm just trying to get the wet into it. Over here it's dry, so you can see how different it is. And I'm gonna switch to a little bit more of reddish purple because I just want to have more value. And just because I want to have better definition, I'm gonna pick up some of those now I can go here and go back and forth between the two different colors. Now over here when I left it where I left it wet, I'm gonna get like much more details. I'm gonna add later much more details. And you would see that every minute that passes, the paper is getting drier. So every time you go back and add a pigment, the effect is changing. It's not the same. So it would spread the most at the beginning, like here, and then you can go and add a little bit more. It's still spreading, but not as much. And go back to the center, and each time it's gave me a little bit different. Here you would see how it looks out with being getting towards. So I want to have more definition again, picking some of the moments and coming back. Yeah, you don't see yet what how it's gonna look, but I think you already have like this enchanted. For me, it's always feel enchanted the way that those watercolor just. Let me give you a close up. Let's create some moments that are darker. Okay. See how it's spread. The most important thing is to avoid creating a color block. Let's make sure that you have a lot of transition, a lot of different areas. Now I want to push the yellow and create some more green over here. I feel like I need even blue green. So let's choose different one. I'm trying to think, maybe even bluish, maybe even gray. Some are stronger and some. So here it's almost dry, so you can see much more of the definition of the stem. The closer you are to the object, more detail you would get. This is why I don't do close-up. I forget to get out of the close-up later. adding a little bit of gray as well. Now you don't want to touch the area that you blocked before. What's going on with this? Oh guys, if you like this live, give me a like. I forgot to ask. So you don't want to remove it until it's completely dry. You would ruin your paper. And now I'm adding a little bit more over here. Okay, I was waiting for this to dry a little bit because we don't want it to bleed. We want to have just a little bit of shape, just a little bit, not too much. Especially not at that stage. Okay. Foreground. So for the foreground, I still didn't figure out exactly the color that I want for this bush over here. So I'm starting with just a little bit of water. So water. I want silvery green. Adding some of this, and let's mix some white into that. So I don't create mixture. I try to do everything with the palette that I have. Now, obviously, it's easy and you should create your own mixer, but I don't know, something in just using the palette, I think it's easier when you do tutorials. And every now and then I have no choice, I have to. So, getting some gray around it, and some white. What's going on? Some white with gray, and then we go. And I think I want the round one. The round gave me better option for create more transition. Mixing more white. Getting around those, and also giving myself the opportunity to paint some of the flowers in. And this would be the background, okay? I'm not trying to teach you wet into wet. I'm trying to create kind of steps by step. Let's do this again. Okay, this goes around. Now we get the space to have some flowers and have the wet into wet action actually getting all the way. Okay, this is still a little bit dry, but let's start working on this bush. So it's a little bit farther from us, and this is gonna be like dry. And I'm starting to mark the way I'm gonna go with the branches. Again, using some dark dry brush movement. And you can see that when I was working while it was still wet and I was scorching the paper, you can still see it. You can still use it. So over here, I created some of the lights in this bush, and now I can just use it. And now I'm gonna go with some much brighter. I think I want to use, where is my number 2 or number 1? Number 1 would work as well. So we have like the dead leaves or stems over here, and then we get a much brighter one. At the edges. This is what I'm trying to get over here. So guys, how are you doing? And let me know what you want to see. At TikTok I mostly do fan art, and I don't mind doing it over here. Just whatever you want to see. And obviously this is live tutorial, it's like much more time than the fast forward that I usually post. So most of my posts would be those fast, I don't know, 30 seconds most. I'm adding a drop of water over here. Let's see if it's enough. Okay, and that's helped me to get this effect. Okay, so we're shaping this, the center of this bush. I appreciate it. Follows the kiwi. I appreciate it. I'm new to TikTok, to YouTube, so it makes sense. Just that I decided that it's about time that I would do this as well. Mainly because we're getting more of a option to save the live later. And you're still watching. Oh, Show and Tell Creation is still here. Thank you. Yeah, I went live this morning, and like this is what I was planning to do. And I felt like, okay, I want to start, be able to post a full live, like instead of just, you know, live highlights, because I really want people to be able to utilize it and to train themselves, and you know, you like, this is the idea. And with other medium, all I can do is just get a little bit of highlights, a moment here, a moment there. So I decided that we still need to do some more. And you know what? Because I know that there are not too many people here, I don't file the comment as much, which means that I'm focusing more with the instruction. So once more, I'm adding water to the pigment, and then I can just use this and get some more. The only thing is that many times you need to soften the lower part. So I'm just building the value over here, right? And I know that I would need a lot of white. So this goes like this. And this is why I removed color from here, because it's going to be like really the dry branches. I'll show you in a moment. Trust the process, trust the process. More water. Dip. Now, the other thing is that usually this becomes like almost opaque. I don't like it. I would need to add white to this. The other thing is that I don't do trials before. Okay, so it means that I'm just starting to do something and we learn together. Lazy people. Maybe this is the reason that I don't do as much mixing before, but I think it's very good for anyone that's kind of new to watercolor. Okay, we're building this finish. Now I want to have maybe a little bit darker value, just picking. So I'm just doing one, you see this teaspoon, and then we get in some of the dark value. See, just one drop of different pigment, and you're getting a lot of different one. Okay, this would be the white, go like this, and then we have another dark area over here. Now I need to be careful with the gray. The gray tends to be too opaque, which I don't like. And here I want it to be very opaque because I need to have a white on top of it. So definitely I want to make sure that we have enough contrast. When you're thinking about layering the white later on, you want to make sure that you have enough pigment, enough contrast. So sometimes you go darker in an area that you get a lot of light, just because you want later on to create the contrast. Now I want some wet area over here. Okay, you see, getting too much definition, no problem. Getting back with water. Okay, because I want the movement. I don't want the finishing all the way. And then we would have a little bit more. More green. Bright, nice green. And again, getting more pigment because they're gonna be like very small yellow flower at the edge, and you wouldn't see it. Again, we're gonna use gouache and acrylic for that, and you wouldn't see it otherwise. And I kind of, first of all, I need to be careful not to add too much of details because it's still need to be farther from us, but I still want us to be able to see what it is. But you kind of want to finish with this and then layer something on top of it. So even if it's watercolor, you want to layer stuff, but and now I'm gonna go like this. But since watercolor are transparent, you need to keep it in mind. And you can't just, like go full block like you would do with acrylic, for example. And I'm blending with more water. Getting the edge. Softening the edges. Trying to make sure that my white parts stay white and it needed. So move the trail over here. Let's get some other shape of brown. And the closer we're gonna get, like over here, we need more texture. I'm looking at this. I'm already seeing the final result, but I'm assuming you guys don't. Like, you really need to believe me. So I'm wondering if I want to start working on one area, so at least one area we would see how it looks. It's easier to trust the process and trust me when you can see it. Okay, so I'm start tapping. You see that I'm creating all kind of like texture of the ground over here. I'm gonna have a lot of small stones and rocks. So just to make sure that I have the right mixture. I don't know, I just like doing it that way. I use it also to create foliage, moss. It's different way. Okay, I think that I can take this off gently. Gently. Making sure that it's dry. Let it off. It's dry also. Because we want to make sure, got it, that the paper still got all the teeth. And now I have an area that I can really focus on creating one of those flowers, which I actually gonna draw. Why? Because we're gonna assume that one is closer to us, and if it's closer to us, it means that we can actually see the small flowers. So you don't need to paint each and every flower. It's enough that you would do one, and your mind, your eye would kind of follow through and fill up the gap. This water. So background, a little bit more pigment. And I'm leaving a lot of white for now. With contouring. And I'm thinking about the light source that's coming from the top. It's mean that we need to get light at the top of each of the flowers. I'm getting some of the blue in between those petals. And over here another cleaning the brush, gonna go back to my purple. And now we have maybe one layer that it's open. I really don't know what the name of this flower. So if anyone knows, feel free to let us know if you recognize it. They have tons of it right now at the trail near Big Bear. I need to have some green in between now. Light green. So we have tang. Maybe here as well. I'm gonna go back over here. So still we're averaging, okay? I'm already starting to paint, but still not too much of the details, not yet. And I love it, like I do this a lot when I do a lot of wetting to wet, and then I find like one or two moments that I really want to focus on and getting like a lot of details, and it's really great, nice perspective. Chantel Creation, happy perfect day. Thank you for being here. Who's the one that I can really want? I can feel it. Okay, so for now, working mainly with my purple. I'm gonna go back and forth between a warmer and cooler. So let's get like maybe the first kind of layer, more detail. Use this one. And even with the one that's very close to us, I'm gonna play with some that are the petal that some are very detailed and some that we're gonna let your brain fill up the gap. So the low part would get more shadows. The top part need to go lighter. And the connection part between those petals gonna be very dark because we're gonna get a lot of shadows over here. Okay, I'm gonna use some even darker value. And go back to my indigo to really emphasize the shadows and the connection area. Now let's see. I'm gonna use some of my markers. Let's see if I used it before. To have some of those bright pasting. So I add a little bit of this and now a little bit of acrylic white. No, this one, this one. And the darker you go over here, the lighter the other area would look. I'm gonna go to the next layer and use my indigo, and we have stamped next layer, use my indigo, and this is watercolor, which means that I would be able to activate it even if it's dry. Go back, next layer. So it's like tier after tier after tier. And I got this area here wet so I can add more pigment if I want to. I can just add it and let it spread. Now I'm cleaning the brush using the color that I already placed over here and mixing it. The thing is that I want to avoid contouring, so even if I'm making a shape, it would be more of like, where are my shadows? Where are my values? And the other thing that you want to make sure that it doesn't become a pattern, that it's still organic. The nature is not very symmetric as we usually think. The whole idea of being organic is that it's organic. It's shift, it's change. Form looks different all the time. Go like almost super opaque at the bottom, and I'm blending the lines, more definition over here, so we would see that this is closer to us, we get more details. And then closer that we get to the stem, we're getting maybe some solo petals, not in a bunch. brush, cleaning it, making sure that I'm not having too much purple in it. Told you everything is gonna be average. 1 or 2 gonna get much more details. Make it lighter. You still need the green. And even in the stem, we're gonna get some shadow closer to the top, okay? Because the light source is coming from the top. I'm getting some more of the shadow in the center of this flower. Let's see if I can remove this one. Okay. Now we can start having maybe some poppies. I wonder if I want to sketch them. So let's say I want to do the yellow one. I'm just marking myself the center. And let's go. Okay. Make sure that your brush is really clean. I'm gonna get a towel. You can see that it's got a lot of blue. You know what? I'm gonna use the blue tone then. A lot of blue. Oh. Okay, the water is still blue. Okay, it looks like I would need to get more water and then. So I'm gonna post the other half. So we're gonna have a nice scene later on after I'm gonna get some water. So stay tuned, check out my page and subscribe. Gonna see you later. Bye.